Hey, good morning. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about injuries and how to deal with injuries in your workout program. Um, I have a little bit of background. When you may or may not know, my first career, actually right out of high school, I was a professional ballet dancer. And so a lot of ballet actually is how you're able to kind of keep yourself going. We deal with a lot of injuries, sometimes muscle related, sometimes bone related, and we did a lot of kind of maintaining, or it's really maintenance, like how can you keep going, keep practicing, keep performing while being injured. So learned a lot about the body and muscles and kind of how to keep yourself going and deal with some injuries. So personal story, about 2 weeks ago, we were working on front squats and I was working on technique, wanted to get a little faster out of the bottom and just felt my hip flexor really crunch up. And unfortunately, it's something that I'm still dealing with. So I initially, for the first week, started out with some ice, so wanting to get the inflammation down in my hip, and started with the ice. It's great. It's a pain in the neck. I'm always great like the first day, second day. After that, I trail off, but really keeping it iced down is really, really important. And then the second thing I did right out of the box was get some anti-inflammatory in my system. So just some Advil, taken pretty regularly. Take it right after the injury. It's going to just, it'll be a momentary relief, but if you get it in your system, it'll really help work on that inflammation. So that's what I personally do. And then after that, I just really focus a lot on stretching. So wanting to keep the area super mobile, not pushing it, not violent stretching, nice and gentle, working into the area, and also the surrounding areas. So I'm rolling out my thighs from my hip flexor, working on stretching out the hips, running stretch on the ground, literally to stretch out the front of that hip flexor, and then some glute stretches and lower back. So picking my knees up to my chest, turning side to side, you're on your back, you have your arms out to the side, and you just move those hips and knees from side to side to really keep that back loose and a little bit of the glutes there. Something that I just thought of that I didn't do, I wish I had right away, was get onto YouTube. There's a site called Mobility WOD, and a guy who really has some awesome videos out there that you can access on YouTube for free about mobility and stretching, and can really give us some great guidance on specific muscle groups and sites and how to work them out. So that could be a good resource for you. I know some people at the gym subscribe to Mobility WOD, but like I said, I found some great things even just this morning that I'm going to look up there. Stretching, also using, he uses like a little lacrosse ball. Bill and I talked about it for a different hip thing I was going through, but just getting that ball to kind of work into the muscle and release some of the pain in there. So that could be a really great resource for you. Also wanted to just make sure you're keeping the communication open with your coaches. So no one wants to be injured. We don't want to be out. We don't want to show that sign of weakness, but the coaches can do a really great job at either modifying a workout for you or focusing you on a different muscle group. So if the WOD had squats in it, or the other day I think the WOD had lots of wall balls. And getting into that squat and, exploding out of the bottom of that squat really was not going to be good for me. So Joe modified it to kettlebell swings. So they can definitely do that. And I would really, really advise so that they really know what you're dealing with. You don't need to keep it a secret. And then sometimes, the body, we really don't want to think about it, and for me personally, I think my body needs a little bit of rest. So even for me, those kettlebell swings, we're using the hips, firing a lot, even to get out of the bottom of that, mini squat that we do when we're thrusting the kettlebell up, and we're using those hips a lot. So even that was a little too much. I think I'm just going to give my body a little bit of rest. I really don't want to do that. CrossFit is one of the biggest highlights of my day, and I don't want to be without it. But again, I'm focusing on the long haul here. I am not training for anything deadline specific, so I can take a week, rest up, get the inflammation down. Hopefully I'll come back, I'll post another video. Hopefully all of the advice and a little bit of rest really worked out, and my hip is ready to go, and I'm ready to get back into my training. So keep that in mind. Ice Advil, get the inflammation down, nice stretching, some mobility WOD could be great. Work with your coaches, partner with them, they're here to help, and can really keep you working out potentially. And then don't be afraid to rest if your body needs it and is telling you that it needs a little break. So that's what I'm doing, and hopefully you guys will stay nice and healthy and stretched out and keep your workouts going. Okay, take care.